There are a lot of movies that I unfortunately haven't had the chance to see yet, and there are several of them that are still out there that I still haven't seen personally. You know, truth be told, there are still a lot of movies and TV shows that I haven't looked at that I unfortunately hope to get to on this channel, eventually, even if not this year, the coming years and all that to kind of play off of not only people's nostalgias, but mine and also friends of mine as well. And one of the movies that a lot of people, especially comic book fans, often picked out to me was the movie known as The Losers. And unfortunately, for me buying it where I live, I could never buy it because it was always on a Blu-ray combo pack. It would have Constantine, The Watchmen, V for Vendetta, and The Losers, because The Losers is based on the DC Vertigo line, just like the titles that I mentioned. Well, it finally turns out that I can actually talk about this movie. So I can actually officially talk about The Losers. So welcome, everyone, to a Lazy Universe movie review. And today I'm reviewing, because after watching it for the first time, I'm reviewing the one and only movie known as Green Geeks and Nerds Movies, Universe and White and Nerdy. The Losers, based on the famous comic book drawn by Jock and written by, I think his name is Andy Steinberg. This is one of the unknown, truthfully, DC comics. I mean, I've heard of V for Vendetta, I've heard of Constantine, and I yet have owned and actually read The Watchmen after begging my parents to let me read it, especially when the movie was coming out. But I have never read The Losers, but yet I still think that they're running property of DC right now, anyways. Then there's always a new team that ends up using this name. So, when people kept telling me like this movie exists and that I should see it, I never really tracked it down, truthfully. But after seeing it, I have to say that this is not one of the funniest movies that I've seen, which it is. But in all honesty, this is one of the best like superhero team movies out there, and in fact, it reminds me a lot of mostly the other DC movies of the Suicide Squad, both of them actually, in respective territories. And I have to admit that this is some of the most creative and also funniest writing ever. Granted, even better with the directing in it, and the cast in this was phenomenal, such as Idris Elba, Zoe Saldana, and even Chris Evans. So the plot of the movie is a very simple one. It's not too contrived. It's easy for anyone to follow alongside of. A hired group of mercenaries that are all together on a teenage team mission in Bolivia suddenly start to realize that things go wrong and go wrong very quick. They soon risk their mission just to rescue a group of kids to prevent them from dying, and that, in all honesty, makes them heroes in my book. But all seems good when they end up thinking that they have saved 25 children from preventing death, only to realize that's sadly not true. There's an attack drone that ends up coming in and unfortunately killed the 25 kids. This was supposed to be meant for our heroes who are later on killed in this film. They're soon hired by a woman, and by Zoe Saldana, to end up using them in the mission to go against one man. A man whose only identity is known as Max, and it turns out for the turn for the worse as both teams go against each other with guns a-blazing, blood flying, and everything happening. While it does sound like something that you've seen a million times, The Loser does have the unique twist of having a lot of twists and turns and backstabs actually happen in this movie, and there are so many twists and turns and backstabs that actually end up happening. Like every time you see something, you have to remember in the back of your head this comes into play later. Like, for example, there is an evil man or scientist in the beginning that ends up being killed, that yet you have to pay attention to because that comes into contact later. And I have to say, I kind of expected that twist to come up because usually in movies, there's like one character that you really have to focus on, and then remember, like, oh crap, that character was important. You know, every character in movies, especially superhero movies, are always important because you're never quite sure if they just exist the one time. You're never quite certain if once you see them once, you won't see them again, and the probability that you will, you know. But I gotta say that every character in this really does feel like a character that you would actually see not only in real life but also in a certain perspective that it kind of also feels like you're playing like a Call of Duty game with the nicknames that the characters are given. You have Jensen, you have Roke, you have you have Cougar, you have Pooch, and then you have Clay, and then you have Aisha, who doesn't really have a nickname. It's just Joey Solandra's character. I'm sorry that I forgot her name, but it's Aisha. And so you have a lot of things that is expecting to come of this, but I gotta say that in all truthfulness, this is just one of the most creative movies ever. And in fact, these characters feel more human than ever. Like there are so many movies where they try to like humanize like Batman or Spider-Man more, or hell even Superman, and it's like these are comic book characters that have more of a vibe and humanity in them more than anything. Like one of my favorite scenes in the original Suicide Squad was the bar scene where they were all talking together and kind of telling each other like, like I have a family, I have this hope, I have this hope. They all kind of connect together. And here you already have that connection the more that you go into this film, which makes it all the more interesting. Every character feels unique, feels fresh, feels good to have on the screen, and in all honesty, you get that every time that you pay attention to the characters and the losers. I'm pretty sure it's to be expected in a movie like this, but I just have to point it out that yes, they do have sex moments in this, and a lucky man does end up getting the beautiful and luscious Zoe Salandra. But even when the characters know that they're supposed to be together, they're still against each other, which feels a lot stranger when you really stop and think about the team that they're supposed to be. But believe me when I say that this is one of, if not one of the funniest films that I have ever seen in quite a long time. And if you don't believe me, just listen to this. That's just a few of my favorite moments that actually happened in this movie. In fact, here the clips to go on for too long, but here's a few others of my favorite moments that actually exist in this movie. Like for example, when we first meet the main villain Max, he is 57 stories up on a big building, and he talking to these Hindu or Indian men, and he or scientists, I mean, and he telling them like, listen, you're going to work for me. You're going to make me what I want. It's plain, it's simple, it's easy. And he's holding one of them to be more sinister, and he's like, now see, I have your best friend. I'm going to kill him. It's just plain, simple, and easy. You don't fuck with me because I'm going to kill him. And then he tells his character, his sidekick, Wade, which I don't know if that's supposed to be referent to Deadpool. I mean, there was a lot of references to like other superheroes in this, which I'll get back to in just a moment, but I'm just wondering if that's supposed to be kind of like a punch a little bit towards Wade Wilson or Deadpool, who was kind of a mercenary, but also he worked with a lot of people. I'm not sure if that's what's supposed to be, but anyways, he gives his hitman a nod, and Wade throws this man up 57 floors, and he just looks at his henchman and he goes, "Why did you do that? What was that? Why did you do that?" And he goes, "You gave me the nod." He said, "I gave you the nod into either like breaking his fingers or punching him in the face to teach him a lesson. I didn't tell you to throw him 57 feet off the damn building." And I'm like, that's pretty funny. I have to admit that was pretty funny. There's another scene where he is talking to Wade and they're going over the plan, which the plan in this, I'm going to have to say, is kind of cool, but also kind of dumb at the same time, truthfully. It's like one of those, like, really kind of like moments. But he's talking to his henchman Wade, and he has this beautiful, I guess, secretary with him. She's a very beautiful woman, and also I think she's Hispanic, if I'm not mistaken. And she's carrying an umbrella over his head, and then there's a strong gust of wind which takes the umbrella away from his head, and she goes, "Sorry, sorry, sorry." He goes, "Wade, let me see your gun." You would think that he would shoot Wade because he's pissed off at him for finding out that the people that were supposed to die are still alive. No. He killed the secretary just because she let the sun touch his precious little head. This movie is weird, people, but it's a good weird. But the main thing behind this film kind of is like Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight Rises. It's not, I mean, it is a bomb, but it's not like the one that's in the Dark Knight Rises film, but it is what instead would be like, I guess, a sonic bomb, because it made sonic vibration so powerful it can destroy an entire city. In fact, there is a scene in here where it within like 5 to 10 seconds it destroyed an island like that, and then there is nothing left of the island, and that's when you get the sensation that like, holy shit, he's not kidding, you know. But I think what this really shines isn't the villain Max. I mean, he's kind of a good villain, but he doesn't measure up to like, other villains that you see in other movies. But where this really does shine is actually the losers themselves, this small team of mercenaries. And when I was watching it, I kept comparing them to the A-Team, but this does really feel like the comic book version of the A-Team, which I know the A-Team does have their own comic book, but it feels like a lot, like if you combine the A-Team with the Suicide Squad. In fact, there was a reference where they were talking about Suicide Mission. Chloe was with Aisha, and I'm like, can they just give me a reference to Suicide Squad? Even Task Force X would work, and they never did. It's like, I'm just wishing to hear at that moment. But there are other references to other superheroes in here. Like, for example, on a van that Pooch drives, it is called the Exterminator, and I think that might be a small reference to the Punisher, who originally by John Romita Sr. wanted to be called the Exterminator, which he didn't think sounded like a good name. Neither did Stan Lee or Gary Conway, who was the creator of the Punisher as well too. So they gave him the name the Punisher. It could also be a reference to Deathstroke, because Deathstroke, I think, was originally called the Terminator until he would until later on, I think he was called the Exterminator. I don't really know that, but I know that the Punisher originally was supposed to be called the Exterminator. And it's kind of funny just to have that reference, but there are more references in here to other superheroes, and especially since it's come from DC, both Marvel and, everything. Yeah, it does make it a very much variety, but I gotta say that these characters not just are well written, but are well acted throughout the entire movie. In fact, one of my favorite scenes is when they're held up inside of the toy store trying to figure out what the hell are they gonna do, and they just all recollect with each other about their families and family members. Especially Pooch, who actually had a pregnant wife in this film, was talking to Clay, going, "Clay, does he know that we have families?" And Clay said yes, which worries the soon-to-become father. To be fair though, I love The Losers. This is like one of the best superhero films that I've ever seen that is about a superhero team that you don't hear much about. It's full of great laughs, it's full of great moments, there are so many great characters involved in this film, and I just gotta say, I love this movie, truthfully. This is one of the coolest, also kind of underrated superhero movies that I've ever seen, but let me know what you guys think about it if you've seen it. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Are you mixed about it? Do you not know how to feel about it? Let me know in the comment section down below, because I'm very interested to hear what you guys all think about The Losers. To me, in all honesty, before I get to my final rating, my Vinyl Pop rating, this is one of just the best, most creative movies out there. And I'll tell you why I say most creative. It's because this is based on a superhero team that basically came off of an idea, be handed to a studio, with the studio showing as much love and appreciation for the team that decided to do everything that they can to make these characters likable. And the fact that they are military men and I would assume Aisha is a military woman. I don't really know, but taking our own basically military and turning them into superheroes, even though they already are, is a very amazing idea and a very amazing concept. And in fact, when they saved those children in the beginning, only to be met with demise, unfortunately, but that made me cheer for them more because at first they were gonna drop basically an equivalent of kind of like a nuclear warhead on the small, little suburban place there there until they found out that the kids were being used as pack mules, and then they decided, fuck off, we're gonna save these kids before that bomb drops. Which thankfully they did, but then Mac turned on them, and unfortunately the kids were met in the demise. But however, that does show the casualty in wartime, and in fact, that makes me actually like the film just a little bit more to show the casualty and the fact that they wanted to go after revenge against Mac to prove that he is an evil corporate bastard makes me like this film even more. The worst part about this is that this had sequel bait, and I don't know when the Losers came out. Someone can tell me in the comments down below if you know. I think 2008 or 9. I want to say. I'm not sure if I'm right. But the fact that this movie is over 10 years old and almost going on 20 years old and it doesn't have a sequel yet kind of makes me concerned that we should get one. If the Expendables are getting an Expendables 5 or 4, I think that the Losers deserve a sequel, and they really do. I really think that they should bring back the same writers for this film to write the sequel, truthfully, but here's hoping, anyways. The Losers is creative, it's fun, it's enjoyable, and no matter who you are, you'd get a kick out of it. Especially if you're in a branch of our military, and if you are and you're watching this video and you heard what I said about you, yeah, you are a superhero through and through, and we thank you for your service, especially me, here at this on this channel. I salute you guys, and I thank you all for your service. So that means that for the movie of the Losers, I am going to have to give it a very good rating, my friends, and especially if a lot of people are thinking that you don't understand my rating system, I don't either. Anyways, I'm going to give the Losers probably the best rating on my top rating here, which is a Supreme Strange. It is one of sorry about the camera there. It is one of the best movies that I've ever seen, and it really does deserve a Supreme Strange. And if you are a comic book fan, and if you haven't seen this movie, I cannot recommend it enough because people have recommended it to me. So go and check yourselves out some Losers today. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me at Twitter with the link in the description down below. And let me know if there's any underrated superhero movies that you guys enjoyed that I probably haven't seen yet. I've seen a handful of them. But just let me know if there are like some that you think that I should check out, especially some that I probably haven't seen yet. Just like, yeah, come here, you. Just like, for example, the Losers. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below if you've seen it. If you haven't seen it, I hope that I have interested you to go and track down your own physical copy, whether it be Blu-ray, DVD, or even if you have to order it on like Amazon or even through other streaming services. Go and try and track it down and enjoy it the best that you can in your own best of ways. Yes, excuse me, I somehow got myself tired, and all I've been doing is been talking about a movie. You answered that one. Also, I haven't been feeling well. Got laid up with a hemorrhoid at the moment at the pre-recording, so hopefully that it clears up. I hate to be disgusting, but I just pointed that out to you guys. So, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me at Twitter with the link in the description down below. And also let me know if you guys want to see more videos like this, especially with other superhero movies or underrated movies that you guys love that I haven't seen yet. It could be any variety, so just let me know if you want me to see it and then tell you guys my own opinions on it. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Blade Universe, I'm White Nerdy. Keep kicking on, and as always, guys, take care and go track down a copy of The Losers. I'll see you next time.